Alright, hope everyone's doing wonderful today. Today what I got in store is going to be actually making some really nice wooden deck boxes just for any card game out of just like all the materials you see on the floor right here. I might be missing a few materials, but I'm pretty sure this is everything. Got some really nice solid oak boards right here. These are solid, they're not plywood or anything like that, and they should have a nice stain and finish to it as well. I got some handles as well. Each box is going to have two of these just really sturdy handles that I have. Going to be some brass screws, just two different types of them. I just wanted to go with brass because I thought they kind of looked the cleanest, kind of like a gold kind of hue to them. I do have some stains as well. I'm going to be staining everything. I have the pre-wood conditioner, actual stain itself. It's going to be a honey stain, that's what it's called. I'm actually be using these towels to apply the actual stain, and then after that we have a polyurethane clear stain coating, and it's going to be a clear satin, so that'll be kind of cool. This box is going to have like a padding interior, so it is going to have some sort of foam cushion with some stick on it, but over the foam I'm going to be putting this really nice velvet material, so there will be like a velvet over that, so it'll be pretty nice. And yeah, really nice velvet. And then I have a drill right here with a bunch of countersink drill bits, just so all of the screws and everything sit really flush inside of it. I do have a staple gun over there, if you can see, and that is going to be helping put in the velvet. We'll be using that, kind of like a drill block. I might use this, supposed to help come when you want your screws to go, or drills to go straight up and down. And then I have a table saw as well, hooked up to just a shop vac. And then that is going to be what I'm going to use to cut the wood. So yeah, it should be a fun project. And yeah, let's just get at it. Alright, and I have all of my plans kind of laid out. It has all my lengths, all where I'm going to be putting all of the drill holes. But yeah, so I put in some thought and effort into this, so it's not just making a deck box just off the top of my head. This is actually one that I've kind of designed and should kind of put together relatively easily. So let's just go on from there. Next thing I'm going to do is we're going to cut this piece of wood. Alright, the first thing I need to do is I need to set my guide to 4.5 inches. So let's go ahead and do that. There is this sort of, right in here, I'll show the camera. Let me just lock it into place. There is a red little line, and you line it up, this little line right here, with 4.5. And then that let you know that this is, if you put a piece of wood through here, it's going to cut a segment that's 4.5 inches wide, and that's exactly what we want, because that's going to be one of the base lengths that we're going to be using. Alright, so I'm going to put my ears on. I'm going to turn on the, let's raise this up all the way. It is up. I'm going to turn on the vacuum. Alright, we just cut our first board. We went all the way down, so there's a thickness of 4.5 inches the whole way. I have my little ruler thing set to 4.5, and if you can see, it lines up perfectly with the edge, so that we know we did our clean edge for 4.5. Let's go on to the next step. We're going to be cutting this into segments of 4.5 by 4.5, so we're going to be cutting out some like squares from it. Alright, we still have our guide set to the same length, 4.5, so even if it's off by like a little tiny fraction, it's still the same exact length, so these will be perfectly square once I cut them. So next thing we're going to do, Alright, I just cut out the 6 segments because there's 6 sides to a box, so these are the ones that we're going to be working with. Got 6 segments of 4 inches or 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches. Should be perfect. Just do a little check. My little length here. 4.5. by 4.5. Perfect. So we have a bunch of these squares. I'm just gonna clean them up with a little bit of sandpaper, and then I'm gonna be working on drilling all the holes in it, and then I'm gonna be doing one final cut. We're gonna be cutting it at 1.5 inches on 4 of them, and then also 3.5 inches on 2 of them to kind of give them the final width and the final length where it's actually gonna open the deck box. There's gonna be like a top and a bottom, and the top is gonna be 1.5 inches thick and the bottom is gonna be 3 inches thick. So yeah, we're gonna work on those cuts in just a moment. All right, just a little bit of work and they look a lot cleaner, a lot better. Nice wood as well, solid. This is gonna be a sturdy deck box that will withstand anything you throw at it. All right, now what I wanna do is I wanna mark all of the holes on the wood that I need to drill. And to help, I made these sort of guides. This is for the top and the bottom, and this is for the large side. The small side's gonna only have holes on the side, and I'll work on that once I get there. But yeah, these guides, they're pretty much supposed to slide over the piece of wood. The corner is supposed to be even on it, just like this. And then all these like black dots, they have little holes in them. So I should be able to take a marker and just kind of hold it there. And it should just bleed through a little bit and make a little dot where I need to drill. So we're gonna go ahead and try that now. If you can see, it marked the board where I need to drill the holes. Very cool. Next thing I want to do, I want to start drilling some holes. So let me just mark a couple more boards and then we'll start to drill. All right, now we have all of the holes marked to be drilled on the top and bottom and then the larger side. So let's just go ahead and start to drill some holes. I'm going to be trying to go as straight as I can. So this is like an example of one of them. You can see there's a little bit of like an inward kind of slope. That's so it's countersunk in. So when you screw in the screw, it will recess fully. Like this part that looks, if you look at it like this, it's kind of angled upwards like a hill or something at the end. It'll sink flushly in this part right here since it's angled downward. So where they meet, it'll actually be nice and flat. So that's the whole point of that. Alright, I just set the length to 3.5 inches. And next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to cut 2 of these 4.5 inches by 4.5 inches to 4.5 by 3.5 inches for the shorter side of the box. I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 of those. I'm going to turn the vacuum on real quick. Perfect. Alright, and now I'm going to line up the box and I'm going to just drill holes for just one side at a time. So I have this here. Okay, charged up the drill. So now let's put in some of these screws. Where's the box screws? There we go. There's two of them, nice and flush in the wood, exactly what we want. Now we gotta work on some other screws. Got the board lined up nice and flat. I got it squeezed into place. Nice. Now let's do these last two and go from there. All right, now I have the lid clamped on the box. I'm going to take the drill and just drill in all of the holes into the sides here. And then I'm going to put in some screws just to hold it in place. And then I'll get the ones that I can't reach right now. Very nice. Screws are all in there, nice and flush. I'm going to be doing a quick once over sanding on everything as well, but looking really good and super solid. Next thing, let's pop on the bottom and do the same thing, drill all the pieces in there. All right, I have the bottom on now, positioned where I want it, and I'm just going to go ahead and drill. All right, we have all the screws on there. I did have one problem. This one will be kind of difficult. The head broke off, so I will have to get that out. But I am going to be disassembling this whole thing anyway, because how can you use this deck box anyway? It's just a solid box right now. But man, this thing is solid. Next thing I'm going to do is going to be taking off all of the screws. And then I'm going to be sawing these parts in half at 1.5 inches. All around here. All right, now I have the saw set to 1.5 inches, and now I'm going to run pretty much most of the pieces. These pieces right here, I'm going to run through, cutting it pretty much right here along all of them. So let's go ahead, turn on the vacuum. Alright, just cut them. I have all of the tops and all of the bottoms, and I'm just going to give them a quick little sand. Alright, I just put it back together with it now cut in half. You can see this is kind of how the deck box is going to look now. It's going to be a latch connecting from here to here, and the top will be removable, and then there's going to be like the felt and the foam on the inside, and I'm going to sand and stain it. I'm going to sand it all now, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stain it. Alright, time to go ahead and sand the whole thing down. Alright, now I gave it a rough little sanding. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to paint on the wood primer, or like the stain primer. Alright, now I'm on to the step. I finally disassembled everything, and now I'm going to be putting on this pre-stained wood conditioner. Kind of mixed it up a little bit before. Just go ahead and open it up. I have it set aside, and the top is over here and the bottom is over here, just so I don't confuse them, because some of the different screw holes, they go in flush one way, but the top might not fit exactly on the bottom, if that makes any sense at all. And it's a very interesting kind of, very reddish sort of color, very cool looking. Kind of see, kind of brownish red. And I'm just going to be taking this foam brush and just applying it on all of these sides, just to condition the wood. Alright, that is the first step. Just set this here. We're going to let this dry for a while. I'm going to go wash my hands. Alright, it's been a little bit of time. I'm just going to take this sort of towel and just wipe off any extra, if there even is any. Alright, we're going to be doing the last part today. We're going to be putting on, well, why is there blue on my fingers? Is it from this? Anyways, we're doing the last part right now, putting on some wood finish, and then tomorrow I'm going to be putting on the clear satin polyurethane coat on top, but I'm gonna let this dry just overnight. We're gonna be doing the Honey 272, that's just the color, min wax. Give it a little shake, and we're gonna apply it with a rag. So I'm just gonna open it up. Very dark looking. And I've never really done this. I think when I was younger I did it. I'm just gonna take a little bit and I guess just kind of brush it on. All right, it jump cut to pretty much the first coating of all of the wood finish because the camera ran out of space, so it kind of cut out the whole back half of me kind of coating it all. So I'm just letting it sit for a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to wipe it off. It did get a little bit of stain on my fingers. Hopefully it'll come off. It'll probably come off later when I wash or something like that. But yeah, it's looking real nice. Has a little bit of a smell, but not too off-putting. But yeah, I think it's gonna look really nice and professional and like really nice, especially with like the brass screws up against it. I'm excited to see how it turns out. There's just one more thing I wanted to do today actually, and that is to wipe off the remainder of the stain. It says after like however long, 5, 10, 15 minutes, go ahead and wipe off the remainder of the stain. So I'm just gonna do that. Look at this. It's looking really nice. Super happy with it. All right, I'm gonna let these dry overnight. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna be putting on the velvet, the foam, and the hinge, and we're gonna be putting it all together. See you then. All right, now I'm gonna be cutting some of the velvet. I need to have 2 5x5 squares, 2 4x5 squares, 2 2x4 squares, 2 2x4.5 squares, and 2 3.5x4 squares. So that's kind of what I'm going to be going at. I'm just going to be kind of going at it, kind of roughly cutting. Alright, I was having trouble figuring out the best way to cut it. At first I was going to use scissors, but then I just stopped because I've tried it in the past and it just doesn't come out very cleanly. These aren't like the sharpest. And I do have X-Acto knives, so that's what I'm going to be trying. I'm going to be trying to cut it with an X-Acto knife. Hopefully I don't have to change the blade. Hopefully they're sharp. I have 3 different ones and I have blades here in case I need to. Oh, this one's like really loose or something. Okay, so I want to have it at 5 inches. Alright, I got all my lengths of velvet for tomorrow, a little bit of fuzz on some of them. I have a bunch of sections here. I cut them all out with an X-Acto knife on top of like an X-Acto knife cutting board. This stuff is honestly a pain to cut. It never comes out very cleanly for me, even with scissors. I just maybe don't have sharp enough scissors, and I thought with an X-Acto knife would cut through it like butter, but if you look at some of these, it just like kind of rips it a little bit. But I think when I use it, I'm going to be cutting off a little bit of extra tomorrow, so it should be enough. And if it's not enough, that'll be a bit of a bummer. But like for example, this one is going to be used to cover this one right here. When it's all said and done, it's going to be kind of folded over as well. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. Hopefully that's enough, and if I do need to cut more, I have a whole bunch of it. Alright, the next thing I do when I cut out some dimensions of foam, I need 4 2.5 by 3 inches, I need 2 3 inches by 3 inches, and then 4 1 inch by 3 inches. So I'm going to cut this stuff. I do like this foam. It does have an adhesive back, so it makes my life a lot easier when applying it. So let's go ahead, let's measure out some lengths. Let's do Alright, now I'm on to the next part, and that is applying the fast drying polyurethane coating. It's been long enough time since everything has been stained. I think it turned out great. I did put a screw in one of the holes on each of them just so I have something to hold on to when I'm applying the polyurethane. And then I'm just going to like set everything out and let it dry, and then deal with it once it's dry from there. So first off, they say you want to mix this. This is going to be my mixing spoon. I think the color turned out really nice, by the way. Gonna go ahead and give everything a nice little coat. It's been dry, the stain is on there. I'm gonna start, I guess, with this one just because I've never really done this before. I have my brush. I'm gonna set a towel here in case I need it and grab an extra in case. And let's just give it a go. I'm gonna go ahead and dip it in. Alright, I just put kind of screws again to make it like a table in all these parts. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the polyurethane coating on this one, kind of dab it into the holes there. Boom, there we go. Now all of the pieces have a first layer of the polyurethane. I'm gonna let these dry for a long time. Then I'm gonna come back and I'll see if I need to put on another coat, but cool stuff, I'm excited. All right, it's the next day. I did some extra work last night. I painted a layer of polyurethane, the clear coat. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give it a little quick sand with some 220. That's what they say to use. And then I'm going to 220. Then I'm going to paint it one more time. So just now I'm just going to have to paint some layers. So let's go ahead and let's start with, let's do a tiny one again. Looking good. Next thing, I'm gonna let these dry for a while, and then I'm gonna be putting on the felt and the foam, and then I'm gonna assemble it, and it should be good to go. Very cool. Alright, all of the pieces are stained, dried, and clear coated, so they're protected. And now I want to do is, I want to be able to put on the foam pieces I cut out, and also the velvet pieces I cut out. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on kind of putting the foam section and the velvet section on it. I just want to make sure I have the orientation right of this. Alright, the two holes are above, so this is the orientation. That means it's going to open up from this side, just like this, to lay my velvet like this. I'm going to be using the staple gun. I have it set on high. Let me grab this thing. Okay, let's give it a go. A couple of those didn't go in, so let's kind of tap it in a little bit. Alright, so now when it folds over, there's a really nice clean edge there. That's exactly what we want. That's perfect spacing, I would say. Then I'm going to take the foam and we're going to place it inside of there, so it's nice and cushioned inside of the velvet. Alright, so let's go ahead and take off the backing. It's like a double, well, it's got a stick back. And let's kind of just arrange it in the middle. Seems about right. And I'm going to take the staples and try to staple it up in there, and like two on the sides there, and this is one of the sides. Got one. Two. Staples will be there, and these parts will be covered up by pieces of wood like this, so you won't even see the overlap, and I'm going to probably trim some of it as well. And then lastly, just a couple staples on the bottom section. And this right here is one of the velvet sections. I'm going to do some trimming, and then I got to do a bunch more. Trim with an X-Acto blade. Got one of them. Nice and smooth, got a nice border there. These will be covered up, so you pretty much just see this blue part right here. It's got the nice sponge on it. It's coming along. On to the next one. Two's done. There we go. That is the bottom part. Looking pretty good. Everything's all flush with the staples. And then once we screw this together, these pieces will go into each other and you won't be able to see anything except the blue velvet, so it'll be looking real nice. Alright, the next thing I'm going to do is I want to thread in screws for this top here and figure out where exactly these go, because I know that they fit in best a specific order. Alright, so we got these two sides on. The next thing I need to do is put in these sides. Alright, got a bunch of clamps and some towels around it just so I don't damage the wood. And let's just put in this screw. Nice. I'm actually going to put these screws in first real quick. Just real gentle. Look at this thing. It's looking really nice. Super happy with it. This is pretty much the top. I just have to put on a little piece of hardware, but I'll do that pretty much the final step. This thing is just looking really nice. Sweet. Now we're ready to do the kind of bottom of the box. I have the bottom piece here. I have the piece of foam and the piece of velvet right there. Let's go ahead and take the sticky off the bottom of the piece of foam. Let's place it in the middle. Just like that. You want to have enough room on each side so that these can fit there, especially with their added thickness, so that is perfect. And then let's take this nice piece of velvet, place it down here. Again, going with the diagram, put it staples here, 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 and then in the corners, just so I don't want to cover up any of the drill holes. It's right in the middle. Again, the excess square. Perfect. That is the bottom with the felt on it. And then obviously these will come in all around it. So we got the bottom down. Just like that. So look at that. We got one more side to put on it, and then this thing is about to be a nice deck box. All right, I have the last piece. It's facing the correct orientation. All we gotta do is put on the felt. We'll cut off the excess as well. Or not the felt, the velvet. I keep calling it felt. The last piece of the velvet is now on there. Let's go ahead and finally put it together. Looking mighty fine. A bit of fuzz. Can't really see any of the staple. You can't see any of the staples or anything like that. It's really nice. Got like a padded inside. And then these are gonna line up just like that. Is this the correct way? This is the correct way. You can tell by the grain of the wood on some of them. And the next thing I gotta do, I gotta just put the latches on it. And this thing is a finished, beautiful looking deck box. Super awesome. Let me just clean up a bit before that. Alright, I'm on to the last part of the build, and that's actually just putting on these latches onto the box on both sides, and that's pretty much it. I was hoping I would find these latches in bronze, but I didn't. They only had them in silver and black, and I really like these latches, so I went with black. And we have very tiny little screws for this as well. Just gonna do this by hand. And I'll tighten everything up once it is there. Perfect. Just go ahead and flip over and do the other side. So much work went into this. I could use a little bit more of the clear coat. I might do a little bit of clear coat touch up. We'll see. Boom, boom. Both of the latches are on there. Let's go ahead and fit these top ones. Yeah, this one's a little wonky on this side. We'll just have to make it work. It is the pleasures of handmade products. They're never perfect. It has the slightest little unevenness to it, but guess what? That'll just be its thumbprint. Just nice and tight in the moment of truth. Perfect. You can see there's a very slight little gap. But if I so insist, I could always go in and sand it a little bit. Awesome. That is a nice, solid deck box. Very cool. Well, it's finally done. The deck box is finally done. I decided for the end of the video I wanted to take it out to the forest because this deck box is made of wood, so eventually previously it started in a tree form, so I wanted to take it out with other trees. And I found this really old stump that someone must have cut down such a long time ago. It's got like green moss all over it. I thought it would be the perfect backdrop for the deck box. But yeah, this is the deck box. I think it turned out wonderful. Super solid construction. I feel like I could probably run this thing over. I know I could stand on it and all sorts of things. It's held together with these brass screws. Everything is really pinched in there. It's really not moving anywhere. I wanted to do like a two-part construction, a top and a bottom, that you can completely remove the top. So if I wanted to just have the bottom sitting there, I can just have it sitting there holding sideboard and stuff like that. I don't have to keep finicking with the top, so I wanted it to be completely removable. I could have put hinges on the back of it, but I like the design of just being able to take it off completely a little bit better. I'm really happy with the way that the finish turned out. I think it really brought out the wood. It looks really great. I like the honey finish. It's got the polyurethane clear satin coating over it. I think it's great. The latches on this, super sturdy. This deck box, like, you can hear the cars moving around in there, but this thing isn't gonna come open unless you really want to open it. There's no way these are gonna just come open by themselves. And they do have the spring, so like it takes a bit of force to even open it. So really, this thing is not going to open unless you want it to. And once you take off the lid, you can see it's got the blue satin inside with the sponge kind of cushion. I really like that. It's got like a really premium type of feel to it. But yeah, I just got the sponge on all sides, top, bottom, and all the sides. Got the nice squish and the beautiful velvet. I think it's fantastic. It really does cradle the cards. I'm not worried about them damage. Can't even hear them move around. They're just squishing against the cushions right there. And I do have a good amount of cards in here right now, maybe like 80 or something like that with all the tokens. I did throw dice in there and a little counter. Don't really have a compartment for the dice. It just fits in there if you want. And this is obviously in the wooden deck. It is my squirrel deck. I did make a video on this. It's a really fun deck. I really like tribal decks. But yeah, if you're interested in that, just check through some of my Magic the Gathering videos and you'll definitely see the squirrel deck that I made. And yeah, I thought it'd be the perfect home for this wooden deck box. Let's check out the bottom. And again, the bottom, it's got the blue velvet with the sponge padding on all the sides, so your cards are just protected in there. Just fantastic. This thing is solid, like real solid. This is a 1/4 inch
no, this is half-inch oak board, so this thing is thick. It's not plywood or particle board. It's just solid wood. I thought it would be best to do solid wood for the rigidity of the deck box and also for the way it would stain. I knew it would look really nice. But yeah, I'm super happy with this deck box. It was a long process to make. It took like 2 days to make it, and yeah, it was a process, a lot of learning and kind of going on the fly, but I truly enjoyed it, and I really hope you enjoyed the process of me filming it. I know it was a bit longer video, but I appreciate if you watched it all and enjoyed it. And yeah, I'm just curious what you think about it. I had a lot of fun making it, and I learned a whole lot, and I think it turned out really great. But anyways, I just want to say thanks for stopping by, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a lot of fun to make, and the deck box turned out great. Let me know what you think, and I just want to say keep on keeping on, everyone, and I'll catch you all on the next one.